you heard me sneezing, well, type it in there. You know, type it in there. Yes, yes, there you go. It blesses you too. Thank you very much, you guys. Sorry about my background noise. Got that hokey little setup. This is Singapore, by the way, so take note. And we're almost done here. All right, all right. That music just goes forever. All right. Enough. Howdy, folks. Welcome back. I told you I would be back. And bless all of you for blessing me. See how that works? You guys get blessed when you bless me, and it blesses you in return. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so here we go. September 18th, 2024. A different kind of anniversary, more for me, and we'll explain that later on in the spiritual report. And it's kind of a sad anniversary. All right, so let's get this show on the road. So, again, September 18th, 2024, we're going to go ahead and start this loop in reverse. No, we're going to start it going forward. There we go. All right, now while this is loading up, I want to take a minute to thank you for taking a moment of your precious time, even in replay, because that's still your time, isn't it? Okay, so even in replay, for taking a moment of your precious time to be a part of this precious family. Okay, this is more than just your average YouTube live stream. I think most of you have figured that out now. So, welcome, family. Let's go, shall we? I'm going to wait for this opening frame to come around again. We already saw some of the opening events up in the upper left there from last night. Okay, so opening frame. Remember this event last night? We saw the little black cores here with plasma streaming around them. Okay, so we kind of went through that event a little bit already last night. Now, as it progresses more, you can see these white streaks right here going around it. Okay, that's definitely painting something bigger going on in there. You kind of see it in the background a tad bit there. But it's actually the motion that really kind of captures it in that sequence. Meanwhile, down here where we have all this spire region and even off to the side a little bit here comes our next event. You can see, well, let me go one frame before. Right out here in front of this indentation is another object right there, but it's very faint. Another little smaller one there. Little one trailing back here. So as those first two move out of frame, you'll see a couple more. Almost makes you think someone is looking around, huh? Someone is. Okay, over here, check out this little shadow of the bow shock coming out from another little event here. And then we have this event coming out of our spire region right here. Remember I told you these act like compass needles kind of pointing at inbound objects. So here comes this one interacting with this region. And then right out front here is another object, maybe smaller, maybe this bigger round black, but you can see the dent it puts in the red, and usually the blue stripe goes right across the middle of it. So there we go. And you can see that one as it kind of moves out of frame. And then we got this one coming out up here. Meanwhile, see this little singular moon right there? Or satellite, whatever you want to call it. Stellar core, stellar body, whatever it is. that's out there. And then note here, this spider region, now we're having an event here at this one. It's not very crystal clear because it's bathed in so much plasma there, it kind of blinds the camera. But there's our closing event right there moving out. All right, so let me go ahead and put that back into motion. There's a lot to look at there. Let me kind of shift so you can see everything there. All right, and I'll let that play for just a sec while I grab a sip here of my soda. What did I just do with it? Oh, there you go. All right, so we got a lot to cover tonight. Let's try to get through this as best as I can. Okay, so there's your activity for now. Come on over to the solar ham here. Let's scooch on up here. First off, your solar flux index is 163. We're down 2 points, not much, but it's still in the yellow, which is good. Okay, we'll take that over anything above 200. I'll take that any day, all right? Meanwhile, our sunspot number count in the green, we're down 34 sunspots after those events and a bunch of those little satellites or moons or, active, interacted with the sun. They have since calmed down the sunspots, and now we're down 34 of them because we probably had 34 little satellites all released there. Also, our area in the green, it's down a little bit, so that's good as well. Let's just pop this open really quick because we got to now. And we'll scroll on up to our region right here of concern. Is 3825 right here with this beta gamma delta complex right here. You see these two red spots with the blue right in the middle. Okay, very tight configuration, very dangerous. We also have this red spot over here with no, small little match here, but what I'm trying to say here is that this blue could ignite with this red, with that red, with this red. Okay, so there's multiple configurations here where we could see any kind of, connection. All right. Meanwhile, we saw today what appeared to be our objects moving out of this region and this region right here. So those might possibly fade and start to decline once the magnetic coupling has released or reduced at least. Okay, so I want to back on out of that. We're going to slide and dip and see how fluxed we are. Goes X-ray flux, that is. Okay, so here's your bumpy day, missing a little data, but that's okay. Our little event that we were seeing right there, kind of long duration during the whole process. And then very quiet, another drop out of data. So very quiet right here. We could go take a peek at that, but I don't think we're going to see much. Let's just back out and take a peek at the 19th here, whether you like it or not. And just a little remnants coming off this event still. Okay. You can still see the spread over here from that long duration event right there. And you can see over here, this is starting to flare up. Something bending light right there. See how this one streak, I'm trying to get over to it. This streak right here is crossing the other ones. So something coming out over here. Something still interacting. All right, so there's that. Now back to the solar ham. So there's your solar X-ray flux for today. Okay, now let me zoom on back. And here's our 3-day geomagnetic forecast, calling for all clear the next 3 days, which sounds great to me, and I hope that's the case. Meanwhile, our D-layer absorption map seems to be over. Our D-layer absorption, we'll have to look at the real map because that might be a frame where it's been cutting in and out lately. And let me just take a peek really quick and see if that's the case, because they could have just put up a frame that wasn't. Okay, it looks like our event has ended. Let's just make sure. Yay! Okay, good. That's good news. All right, so back to this. So our D-layer absorption event is over. X-flare potential at 10%. That might need to go a little bit higher. We'll see, because we have 3825 as beta, gamma, delta, and growing. still. So when you got a beta gamma delta configuration, your X flare potential jumps up a little bit. I think it should be just a tad bit higher, but we'll see. Hopefully nothing happens. Meanwhile, you can see our geomagnetic storm that we endured declining and declining and declining, and then another little bump right here. I think we might be hitting another little unforeseen object kind of flying by that these guys didn't really expect. So they're hard to track, dude. They're invisible unless they're next to the sun. And nothing showing up on the tracker. That's good. That's good. Let's go back and read the article. So, geomagnetic activity gradually declined to below storm levels today with an epic night across parts of North America. That's the 17th. Oh, what happened on the 18th? Oh, they haven't updated it. Okay, let's move on over here then. So, coming on over. Another X flare might be in the offing. Sunspot Air 3825, the one we were looking at, has already produced two X flares, a 1.3 on September 12th and the X1 4.5 on the 14th. A third could be in the offing. The sunspot has a Delta class magnetic field that harbors energy for additional X class explosions. Okay, so we're not out of the crosshairs yet. Let's see what happens here in the next day or so. But rare blue auroras caused by resonant scattering. Okay, blue auroras because the sun was shining on them at the same time. So you can come over and read the article. Pretty cool article there. Now let's get on over here. Oh, our Schumann resonance has been off the hook, and the instrument is not reloading right now because, well, it's a Russian site, and let's just say the Russians probably aren't too happy with us right about now. So that site's not working, but we'll pull up the one on Mr. MBB, and I'll show you that we've had some very, very intense spikes that have gone way off the chart of our normal, the normal chart that we look at. So we've been experiencing a lot of pressure down below and a lot of activity. Meanwhile, here's another typhoon just about to make landfall here in China. Just kind of, whoa. Oh, I should have taken advantage of that while we had it there. All right, meanwhile, little vortexes, little storms starting to brew around here. Finally, we're getting a little bit, making over the top. Cold air is coming down in here, mixing with this warm air coming up. So we're finally starting to see weather in the mid-range. See how it's coming over the top of this ridge here? Cold air coming in, mixing with this warm, moist air. Now we're going to see severe weather in Minnesota here soon. Okay, so everybody in Minnesota, pay attention here because here comes another batch of weather. Meanwhile, we're looking around at vortexes. There's that one there, this one there. Still the same kind of face configuration we had there yesterday. Pretty weird. Okay, we still have this vortex sitting over India. And it's recycling air, pushing it up against the Himalayas here, keeping air from kind of getting out of there. Actually, it's starting to feed some of it out. Look at that. The rotation backside is actually feeding some of it out. So we might see a little clearing SO2 in that region here pretty soon. But meanwhile, another vortex rotating off there. One over here. They're all over the place. All right. So there's that for the moment. I want to do our sandstorm report here. So let me get over to particulates and hit the sand. Take off the winds for a minute because they can be a little distracting. All right. Meanwhile, here's your really dense plume here and dense plume way over here, but not much is making it out. The little that is getting dissipated and getting wispy, rotating, spinning around here. These storms are picking it up. All right. Meanwhile, look, it's kind of clearing out through this area here, so we better watch out. Everybody, let's just pray that we don't see a bunch of Hurricane Genesis and stuff in this region, all right? Meanwhile, look at the Pacific. It's just got sand all the way around the world, okay? And we come over to this guy. This eye is just very intense over the Gobi Desert. This eye is starting to fade away a little bit, but you can see that it's still there. And it's looking right at this region right in there. So look at this eye. Woo. Looks like a dragon's crazed eye, doesn't it? All right, so there's your sandstorm report for right now. This guy's over here laughing. Oh, wow. Getting crazy. All right, so there's your sand storm report. And at least we got some coming out. It's not the most, but now let's get over to our SO2. We have been having SO2 emissions all over the place. So let's start off here with America. As you can see, you're a country divided. Okay, one side bleeding out SO2 except for sites that are flooded right here. Okay, where it plugs up the pores in the ground. The other side bleeding or little perforations in the crust, but there's your divided country every time. Thanks to your lying mainstream media. I say it all the time. Okay, so let's start up here in Canada. Some of these sites do produce fires. It looks like a lot of the fire activity has died down at some of these sites up here. Here's some at this site right here, though. And it was creeping down into the lower 48, and that activity has really diminished. You can still see a little bit up in here, a little bit. But overall, a lot of the bigger fires seem to have diminished. We still got this one here in Southern California going on. And now we have a new SO2 plume just off to the side of it now, here on the coast. And a fire growing right here on this little point right here. Then, as we look over here, here's one right here at an emission site. Even though this is stronger emissions, there's no vegetation around to catch on fire, where here it's not that strong of emission, but there's plenty of vegetation to catch on fire or something there. And then as we see here, this activity was creeping down into Mexico. It seems to have diminished, so that's a good sign. Take that as a good sign. Fires is never good, so when they're diminished, I'm grateful. All right, let's take the fires off and continue on our SO2 hunt. As we continue down through Mexico, you can see a lot of emission sites through middle of Mexico, down through here, Cuba, Jamaica as well, northern South America, all the way down the west coast. Even strong emissions there. Let's go in, check out our fulcrum point really quick. Okay, all three are looking pretty strong right here. That one especially, this one. Okay, we always check this one, and it's always kind of pumping really well. It's these other ones here. When I see them flare up, it's a good indication that we've had an increase in pressure down below. Probably because we just absorbed a G4 magnetic storm. Yeah. And as we go into Hawaii, check on a friend in the volcano crater. Yep, still SO2 coming out of there. That's fine as long as it's not magma and we're not having volcanic explosions on that island. Meanwhile, over on this island, it's okay because that one side is uninhabited. Well, not uninhabited, but less inhabited, we'll say. And it's better to see the activity there than over a big major city. And we did get one little right there. All right. So as we continue on over here, we're going to adjust for their daytime. All right. So here's China. Very strong emissions all throughout this area. They're seeing all hell's breaking loose in China. Okay. I'm going to play a little something here in a minute for you when we do the weather. Actually, maybe I'll do it here in a second. Meanwhile, look at this. Our vortex is rotating so much SO2 up against the mountains it won't clear the Himalayas here, so it's just intensifying and concentrating over India. But look at the clear spot in the middle of our vortex. Let me put the wind back on really quick here. You see the clear spot right in the middle of the vortex there. So one spot of India is cleared out, but the rest of it still smells like one big fart. Meanwhile, over here, this area is filling in more and more each day and will continue to. If you saw what was hiding in the spiritual realm, looking at this area here, you would understand why this area is going to increase in its SO2 productions, because there's a lot of activity going on, let's just say. All right, you can see up in Europe, still kind of doing its effect up in there. We still have strong plumes way up here, high in the northern hemisphere. Okay. And then you're going to feel a huge, massive shift. Feel or just experience? Okay, so I think we covered everything. Yeah, it's good enough for now. Let's get over to the ocean report real quick. Our sea surface temperature anomalies. Whoops. For now. Thank you. All right, come on over here. You can see they're starting to kind of break up and disrupt in this area. We got a cold water little comma shape type structure going on right here, splitting these two hot spots up. Meanwhile, over here off the coast of Central America, excuse me. Also, this pocket here by LA kind of, we're starting to get a little yellow in the corner there. We could use a couple more quakes, some more SO2 emissions to relieve pressure in that region. Meanwhile, you see cold water all the way up the west coast, out to our fulcrum point, or our Juan de Fuca fulcrum point, and then going up. Still cold water trying to fight and cling to the shore right here. Meanwhile, this area is filling in again. And look how it's reached the coast here. Okay, this red, so there's probably going to be pressure underneath the ground right around this area too. If it's reached out this far, it's pushing inland. So watch out around Mount Rainier and St. Helens too, okay? And the Juan de Fuca, all in all, because we still have all this activity out there. All this pressure is still there. I mean, we need a lot of good, constant earthquake activity, 5.5, 5.4, day after day after day to keep relieving pressure in this region, or else it's just going to continue to grow like this. All right. Now you can see our triangle structure back here, kind of, a little bit deeper back here. You can see this triangle structure is filling in all red again. And now this area is starting to broaden the yellowness is starting to broaden and get a little wider. Our comma shaped little blue structure, cold water structure that was in there, is starting to get gapped with little spots in the middle here popping up. So it's severed this comma shaped structure now, and it's just these little pockets now. Meanwhile, out here at Tamumasi, you can see a lot of hot water or magma, whatever, coming off the ocean floor, heating up this entire region. And some of this area is white, okay? And I showed you on the graph before, white meaning the highest temperatures. Okay? And if you see the face in the background, there's the eye, the big nose, and the smile. Okay? Meanwhile, we coming over to here, you see this cold, hot configuration right here. This is producing rotation right offshore of China and then feeding typhoon after typhoon after typhoon into that region. And what I want to do really quick here is put on this wind, please. And you can see there's another vortex approaching them, another one right off of Vietnam here as well. But you can see this cold, hot area feeding stuff into there. Now, what I wanted to do really quick here, I found this quick little segment, and I was telling you about these structures, these conveyor belt type structures that that produce one after another, right? And they don't have much sand in this area to quell all the hurricane genesis. So what the conveyor belt structure that we were going to see on our side ended up happening over here, and I think it's coming up just a second here.
On September 16th at 7 a.m., Typhoon Babinka, the 13th typhoon of this year, May 18th at 7 a.m., Typhoon Babinka, the 13th typhoon of this year, made landfall in
The 13th typhoon this year. Shanghai is a wasteland, okay? This is their 13th typhoon this year. Remember I was saying they would like spread out, be one after another, after another, after another, after another? Well, lucky it wasn't us. It ended up being China, who's on their 14th, possibly right now. Yeah. Meanwhile, we were coming back down here to check out Java, our main relief valve down here. Whoops, take the wind off. And you can see that the cold water is receding there. We're getting this more intense heat patch out here. So the relief valve doing the best it can, but you can see encroaching heat in the area. This big old plume right out here is doing something now. Look how this is really grown and extended. Okay, we got this area right here that's flaring up. We got these regions here off of Africa. And then right here at this spot, we saw an earthquake right there at that spot yesterday. Meanwhile, there's some other patches off the coast of Africa. And then this spot here at South America. Meanwhile, off the coast of South America out here is all these. And below the tip of Africa, all these little plumes. Indication of volcanic activity on the ocean floor, whether it's venting steam, hot water, hot gases, or magma. Some of this coming out of the mid-Atlantic rift here is magma and cesium, radioactive elements coming up because, well, they're so close down to the core, it's radioactive. Now, let's go ahead and put on the winds, and we'll see our conveyor belt structures. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay. And put it right like that for a second. You can see how a lot of this weather comes up to the west coast, comes down the coast, and then heads back out. We're finally getting a little break in that door where stuff is coming, cold air is making it out of the Gulf of Alaska, crossing in here, and now we have a new little low that's formed, and we're going to see this storm right here is going to be crazy. You guys watch out here in Minnesota. All right, go watch like Ryan Hall, some of the other weathermen. They got better apps and stuff like that. They can guide you a little deeper. But right here, I'm just kind of showing you here our conveyor belt structures and how they've kind of changed a little bit and where they're going. So there's that one on the Pacific. Then there's this one over here in the Atlantic. Now this whole like conveyor belt is kind of gone. Now it's just all scattered mess of vortex here, vortex there, one here forming because of hurricane. So the whole conveyor belt type structure out here has kind of broken up. Now look at this flow coming out of South America or out of the southern hemisphere up to this latitude and continuing on up through the Caribbean up into this storm up here. So air from way over here is going all the way up through there. There we go. More like that. All right, so our conveyor belt structure has changed. We might not see much hurricane genesis coming off of here, but it might happen in this region here. So we're going to have to watch the Caribbean and the Gulf still too. For we could get a tropical depression that we just had one that formed here and turned into a Cat 2 just in the short distance. So there is your thermal heat anomalies, water anomaly, temperature anomaly, and your conveyor belt type structures that are controlling our weather. Okay. Well, have a big part to play in our weather. And our earthquakes and our volcanoes and the whole process, really. So let's get into our earthquake report. Nothing in the deep region right there. Over here, we do have a 5.7 down at 35. Notice an uptick in magnitude, 5.7. Okay, so we had that round of pressure that came in from our G4, and now it's starting to make its way through, up through the layers towards the crust. There's a 4.4 down at 123, 4.5 down at 468. Okay, that's almost a deep quake right there. Nothing in this region. We need more quakes right here, more volcanoes to relieve pressure in that area. Instead, it was relieved up here on a plate boundary, 5.5. See another uptick in magnitude there. Meanwhile, it's come into Taiwan. This is good. A 4.1 down at 22 and a 4.6 at 34. Perfect. Couple of fours, mid-range fours like this relieve some pressure in that region, and that's good. Let's come on over here really quick and take a peek at this area with the... Well, this is yesterday. Never mind. So this map is a day behind. So here, we'll take note right now, before the quake, because this is yesterday's readings, we have a little bit of yellow inundation in this area. There we go. Now you can see it. All right, a little bit of yellow inundation in that area. But after these two quakes, we'll probably see a little reduce of the yellow, turning back to red. We'll even maybe see a little more cold water inundation after these quakes in that region. Okay, so bing, bing, good news there. And then all of a sudden, here we go in China. See what's happening here is all this SO2 coming out and all the water going in and not plugging it up. Usually when we see, here, where is it again? Come over to SO2 one more time. I know I'm bouncing around, forgive me. Usually when we see SO2 emissions with flooding, you see the areas that are blocked up, right? And then once the flooding recedes, then they continue to pump out SO2 again, right? Their SO2 emissions are so intense that even though they have flooding all over the region, it still continues to pour SO2 without many blank spots. Without any blank spots. That's how intense their SO2 emissions are. And then water going right back down in those holes with SO2 still coming out. A lot of their flooding's probably bubbling underneath too. All right, so back to the earthquake report. So they've had this quake here, a 5. You know what we do with 4.9s here, right? Especially in China. This is probably a 5. I saw some video that showed some pretty good shaking in that region. What kind of energy? 5 energy at the surface? Path of least resistance? Weak spot? Yeah. Let's take a little peek at, well, look at all that population right there. There's a lake right there. You get a 9-pointer right there. That'd shake that whole thing and douse the whole city. But there's still population all around this region. It shook some people, probably scared a lot of people there. Okay, so we'll have to watch that area now. Meanwhile, over here, so yeah, SO2, flooding, and earthquakes at the same time. 4.6 over here down at 32. just off of Japan up here where we see that hot spot, that hot zone out there is a 4.5 down at 54. Okay, all that's all quiet. What was that one again? A 5.5, yeah. No fulcrum point in this region. There was a small quake up here in Russia today, last night. And we're still here. 4.4 down at 47.8 here. Okay, that's not on the plate boundary. That's right on the edge of this big old shelf nose type structure right here. Okay, so Greece is rattling around. They got pressure down below there, as well as Italy, and they're seeing different forms of. God's really doing a number on this place. Okay, I think we're already on all magnitude. Excuse me. Nothing at our fulcrum point, but coming in here, 4.2 at the surface, roll down at 10 here. Not much microquaking along our volcanic islands, but out here on the plateau, we have a 3.9. Okay, coming on up. Ooh, there's a good size 4.0 here at the surface. 3.8. That's uh-oh. That's your diverse quake right there. Yeah, I don't see many volcanic structures or a few little faults running through here and up through there. But this offshore out in the water out there, that's your diverse quake for the day right there. Let's see what kind of temperatures coming out of that region really quick, huh? Ocean, SSDA, Brian, you're all over the place tonight, but I just want to see what's going on up there. Right in that bay. Little heat signature right in that bay. And over here, too. So, no surprises. We saw a little earthquake in there then. I would say, well, it is a diverse quake because it's not being caused by plate tectonics. It's being caused by pressure underneath right there. And then you look just across the way over here at Russia. They're going to be in hot water there. Meantime, here's all the activity at the top of the world. Pretty crazy. All right, back to the earthquakes. So, on a little diverse quake there due to the heat down below. All right, so now over to Juan de Fuca. Our 4.2 at our same spot here by our three-way junction here, our fulcrum point. Okay, so good. We're starting to see regular quake activity, and there's more than just this. Okay, their USGS isn't showing everything. European models and stuff have a lot more quake activity and smaller tremor activity, relieving pressure at that region right there. So that's good. We got a new little relief valve here at the top of the Juan de Fuca, which is helping relieve pressure along this region, which needs to be done. Meanwhile, where's this? Top of St. Helens there. Okay, we saw, watch out for, we saw pressure creeping in up to the shoreline, the red hot water, and it's going to push inland. So watch out for these volcanoes here to possibly have more earthquake activity here in the near future. There's St. Helens with a little bit, but kind of quiet for now. Hopefully that was our round of pressure, but I don't know. G4, usually we have a lot more than this. Still microquaking out here at the geysers, doing its job. Magnitudes below that, 1.2 is no big deal. All right, cool. Down here at the south end of the fault, 1.5, good. Little bit along the boundary here. What's going on over here by our other caldera? 2 and some other small ones. What's that one? Okay, still a little activity around this caldera area down there. What's that? Okay, Southern California is still doing pretty good. No quakes out on this little bulge out in here. It's all right along the inside here, running like a plate boundary. That is 2.1. So we've seen a reduction in temperature, pressure in that region, reduction in magnitude now too. We had that 5 out here in Texas the other day. Now we have a reduction in pressure out there, but up here in Kansas is a 3.4. That's a diverse quake up there, I think. We'll have to go make sure there's no pump station there, but really quick here in Texas and in New Mexico. Oh, that's still Texas. Okay. A couple of 2s, mainly at our little weak spots. This one up here in Kansas. Oh, Toto, tell me it ain't so. We're not in Kansas anymore. I do not see anything for quite a ways. You got a diverse quake right there. Unless these guys in this barn are doing something shady, you got a little diverse quake right here. Because there's no other plate tectonics really. I see a river running right here. May have eroded deeper than just what we see, but I have a feeling that's our little diverse quake for the day right here, way up there in Kansas. Toto, we had a 3.4 today. We also have some fulcrum point activity over here on the New Madrid, 2 quakes, a 2.0 and a 1.6. Okay, so right here along this river right here, rivers can carve down deeper into the crust. Sometimes water drains down, erodes deeper than just the bottom of the river. Okay, so sometimes it can make weak spots in the crust, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing right here is due to this river and being here on the fulcrum point of the New Madrid right here. So watch out. We're having a little activity in that area. Just an indication when pressure comes in, it's still a weak spot there. Nothing up here by New York today. That's good. Or bad, depending on how you look at it. 4.4 down to 49. 4.7 plate boundary. Magnitude check. Okay, good there. Fulcrum point. Please, Lord. 4.1 there, that's good. New quake right here where we have a lot of SO2 emissions, 4.2. If these 2 quakes and all that SO2 emissions didn't happen, you'd be seeing a lot bigger magnitude along that plate boundary. And I think that's all she wrote. Yep. All right, except for the fact that
Shanghai's Pudong Binka, the 13th typhoon of this year.
The 13th typhoon of this year. Yeah, for China. All right, let's get on with our volcano report here. And get rid of that thing too now. Even though mainstream media doesn't cover 13 typhoons or 67 currently active volcanoes, 36 of which are erupting, the other 68. So 7 years ago, if I had told you all this stuff would happen, you would have said you're crazy. And here we are 7 years later, and I am even crazier about you. Okay, here we go, September 19th. Nice shot of the satellite there. Okay. Bongana, 12,000 feet. Back on the list, Bongana jumps on there at 12,000 feet too. Ibu, 8,000 feet. IBU at 8,000. 10,000 out of Luatobi. Semeru, 14. Fuego, 15. Sabancaya, so high it's unable to detect. And that was just in the last few minutes, okay? Here's September 18th. What was today is now yesterday. Because, well, time flies at this channel, man. I'm telling you. Time flies when you're having fun, so you must be entertained. Meanwhile, there is the map of madness. Okay, all kinds of volcano activity through this part of the plate tectonic boundary. Okay, relieving pressure, keeping earthquake activity down in that region. Meanwhile, all these active ones through here, all these active ones up on the Kamchatka, Stromboli and Etna still active. All of these active ones through Central America, South America, all the way along the coast. We even got Kilauea active now out here at Hawaii. Whoops, we can't move this map. And we also have Home Reef out here. Even Svarensky up here in Iceland is still kind of active. So I think we got every continent kind of covered, because if you look down here, even in Antarctica, there's still a active volcano. So everywhere you look, active volcanoes. And this is on land. When you look under the water, well, there's your matching activity underwater, because the bottom of the ocean floor is still the surface of the crust. It just has water sitting on top of it. Okay, so back to the ad. Again with Bongana, 12,000. IBU, 10,000. All right, so higher blast today out of ibuprofen. Luatobi, 10,000. Get one of these dogs and send it to your local politician. Don't get those dogs. They're very dangerous, unless you're a professional. Semaru, 14,000. White Island. Ongoing steam plume. Kilauea, impressive images from the eruption yesterday. Let's take a peek, shall we? Again with, where's the other image of the fissure? Okay, well, we'll just use, I guess this is a reference. Oh, beautiful little reference. Here we go. Now, when the Earth's core heats up and it swells, the magma heats and swells, it pushes on the underside of the crust, almost like overcooking a hard-boiled egg. And when you overcook an egg, the shell cracks and the egg from inside squirts out through the cracks. Well, here we are with these linear straight-line fissures. Is what they are. They're a fissure, a crack that tore open in the Earth's crust, and now there's magma coming out through it. And that's what gives you these long linear curtain type effects, okay? And that's the pressure from down below pushing up and causing cracks in the surface of the planet, in the crust. Okay, back to Santo Guido, 13,000 feet, okay? Fuego, 15,000 feet. Nevada del Ruiz, whatever, 15 out of Reventador. Sabancaya, 22. I showed you the map. Here's the according list to that map. Currently erupting. We should only have one out at Hawaii, or maybe, some Pacific island or something like that. But no, every continent has an erupting volcano, with several that are, at least one erupting, if not many, with several active volcanoes around it. These lists are sheer insanity. You should be jumping up and down with madness, going to the mainstream media. Where are you guys on this story? Huh? Where are you guys? Where are you guys on any of these things that really matter? All they got you doing is distraction, distraction, distraction. You guys are so freaked out now because of all the fear that they stir up, when there's real fish to fry here. We got real issues, not playing patty cake. It's sheer insanity. I'm sorry, I have to move on and do the weather now. And in lighter news, tell them about the weather, Tad. Well, in weather, it's totally insane, as you can see. Let's just get into it. Here's this big low pressure. Now, as we continue into tomorrow, this is the morning of the 19th, noon, convection right there. At convection, this is not doing it justice. This whole line might light up a linear storm front right there. And then by nighttime, they're showing some, it's going to be a little more serious than that, I believe. Okay, so as we go from right now, the nighttime of the 18th, into the morning of the 19th, noon, convection, nighttime. Can we get a little more map for them, Brian? And less button. There we go. Morning of the 20th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 21st, noon, convection, nighttime. Ooh. This we'll start to pay attention to because that's still within our 3 day period right there. So we'll have to watch and see how this develops right here. Let's go back a little bit. You can see this load that's dipped in right here and warm air coming up to meet it. They pinch off, smash into each other, and you're looking at severe weather with snow at the same time. So you might see heavy snow and thunder snow at the same time. Snow NATO maybe too. No, I'm joking. There's the morning of the 22nd. Move a lot of that energy shifting into Missouri or Iowa states, even Nebraska. So watch out for that event right there around the 22nd. From convection there, nighttime the 21st, morning of the 22nd, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 23rd, noon. Oh, you know what the 23rd will be here? 7-year anniversary for the Revelation 12 star alignment, too. A lot of anniversaries this month. All right, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 24th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 25th, noon, convection, nighttime. See this hurricane coming up through the Gulf? Morning of the 26th, noon, convection, nighttime. 27, noon, convection, nighttime. 932 millibar. Yeah. Let's pray that does not happen, okay? Morning of the 28th, noon, convection, nighttime, 935 millibar. What? Morning of the 29th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 30th, noon, convection, nighttime. October 1st, noon, convection, nighttime. October 2nd. Okay. This is a ways out there, okay? All these models will change and stuff, but when we're looking at millibars like 930 and 932 here approaching the shoreline, that would be devastating. We're talking category 5 and even stronger. An event like that would not. You know how they've seen 13 typhoons? Imagine if we'd seen 13 of these so far. Yeah, we would not be in good shape. So thankfully, all those sandstorms have kept us from having 13 of something like this just lash the country over and over, one after another. You don't even have time to recover because as soon as you get out of the floodwaters, another one comes in. So thankfully, we've dodged this kind of activity for a while. But here we go with this around, let me back up, possibly around the 28th time frame, okay? So right around 28th to the 29th, all the way through to there when it finally leaves shore on the night of October 1st. Okay, so that we'll have to watch that as we get approach that date. Okay, so that is everything in a nutshell. Your astrophysics, your geophysics, and your basic weather. Okay, I would go watch a couple other like Ryan Hall or Max Velocity, some other weather reporters about this event that's about to unfold here in Minnesota. Okay, we'll go back to that time frame really quick here too. Let's go. Just really quick. And then we can move on to the. Okay, so right there, convection tomorrow and nighttime tomorrow for Minnesota, Wisconsin area, Michigan. Okay, this low really means business. Okay, this map is not doing it justice. And I pray that I'm wrong. I pray that it doesn't do. I pray it does something like this or even less. All right, but we're gonna have to watch that storm really closely. Everybody in Minnesota in that area, be on alert tomorrow afternoon and evening. Okay, now we can move on. So let's just do some of this. Open up some images really quick here. Let's see if we got. Some beautiful sunset pictures. They take activity going on around here. But crazy cloud structures we get around here, huh? Like that one right there. Can you see that? That face in there? Yeah, this is what the skies do. All right, let me look at this one. Pretty cool, huh? Almost looks like a sailfish with all the little streaks and stuff. All right, so where was I going with this? Ooh, that dude right there. All right, hopefully you see the little halo above. So, anyways, let's talk about today being September 18th, or now it's turned the 19th, but September 18th was, for me, the day I got married. And my wife and I had a beautiful marriage, 2 beautiful children, and pretty happy marriage until all this paranormal activity started happening to me. And I think she didn't understand what was going on. And, well, she filed for a divorce, and I don't blame her. Okay. And I don't think maybe I'm the safest person to be around either, target on my back and put one on her back. So I thought it was probably best that maybe she did. And I still love her. She's still the mother of my children. And I just, I'm not sure if she watches anymore. Wasn't too happy with my channel either and all this activity. So, but I still love her, and I wanted to wish her a happy anniversary today, even though we're not married. And there was one thing I told her way back when we first met. And I told her something that still rings true today. And if you're watching, sweetie, I want you to know that I still love you across the universe until the end of time. Okay? And when you see what's going on here, and you know that there's a marriage, a wedding about to happen. Oh shit. All right, hang on. I'll be right there, you guys. Hang on, I'll be right there. Sorry about the delay, folks. I might have to wrap this up. We have a little small emergency here, so I got a little fire going on. But I'll have to wrap this up for right now. I'm sorry you guys have to go, but I'm going to be back later. Love you all. Gotta go. Bye.